Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. The City of Lloydminster will begin reopening Monday, May 11th, and as Eric Bay has more with Gerald Albers.
Yesterday, the government of Saskatchewan announced that the City of Lloydminster will be joining the rest of the province with Saskatchewan's reopening plan, and I'm joined now by Mayor Gerald Albers. Thank you for taking the time with me this morning, and can you just give me the city's reaction to the announcement?
Well, I think that there's been a great deal of discussion here at the city, certainly discussion with businesses, for and against in the community, as we can appreciate, from the perspective that it was important that we wanted to try and get our city again up to speed as quick as possible with the guidance from the government of Saskatchewan, the Chief Medical Health Officer. And there's been several discussions since last week's outbreak and cluster at the hospital, and we wanted to be sure that we did it the right way. And that was the feeling from the government of Saskatchewan, and the discussions we had with them was that I understand, I haven't spoken to the Chief Medical Health Officer, but talking to government officials, they felt that we were at a point that we could move forward, and we appreciate that very much.
And you mentioned tons of discussion has been taking place, and we are only 10 days removed from the announcement that there was an outbreak at the Lloydminster Hospital. Is there any concern that there could possibly be another outbreak here in the city?
Well, I think that there's always that concern. Let's go back to when Premier Moe and the government of Saskatchewan announced that there was a plan, a reopening plan. They said it would be fluid, it would be up for review on a regular basis. And I think that people have to keep that in their mind, that there's a possibility. I don't think anyone expected what happened, what was announced last week at our hospital. So that, I think, was one that sent a message. And it was first time in Saskatchewan that it was to that nature. So I think that people reacted accordingly from the government and from the health department, and said maybe we just need to step back a little bit. If people continue to follow the social distancing and the practices of keeping groups small and keeping them tight, as well as hand sanitizing and things like that, we're hoping, and I believe the government is in the same belief, that there won't be another outbreak or definitely a cluster. And the one challenge I've learned in the last week is an outbreak is one case. So, there's communities throughout Saskatchewan, a good portion of Saskatchewan, haven't had a case for weeks and weeks, and here we had several. So it was one of those processes that the government felt they had to work through, and I understand why they did what they did.
As you mentioned that the situation will be closely monitored, the City of Lloydminster will remain under a state of local emergency, correct?
Absolutely. We'll be following the state of emergency laid out by the province of Saskatchewan and following that along. And I think that this is going to be a stepped or phased approach. And I think that each phase will bring new challenges, but it will bring new opportunities. And I'm hoping the opportunities outweigh the challenges. And it, again, is going to be driven by the public. I can't say that enough, that if we don't have cases and people can refrain and follow the rules in place, it will be beneficial for everyone.
And Monday is the start of the reopening plan in Lloydminster. Can you take me through the schedule and how stuff will be continuing to open here?
So the information that I've been given and I can share is that it's an allowable reopening of what was known as the previously restricted medical services, dentistry, optometry, chiropractic services. I believe the massage therapists are not, but the physiotherapists are. So if you're looking for a massage, you'll have to wait, but you can contact your physiotherapist and make arrangements. So I think the important part is there's going to be a real change for people when they go to any one of those professions in the medical field on the 11th of May. They're going to be social distancing. You're going to see some different PPE requirements on their part, maybe as the patient's part, and things like that. So don't be surprised if you may have a little bit of a time to get your schedule to what you want, because with that, they're going to be ensuring safety is paramount. And you may find one person in the waiting room, you may not find anybody in the waiting room, as an example. So depending how they do their scheduling, I know that in discussions with various people, they were looking at all sorts of options to ensure the safety of their clients.
All right. Thank you again, Mayor. Really appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure, and thanks for conveying the news to people. And like I say, I appreciate that there are concerns in the community. We're aware of it. I certainly tell you the government of Saskatchewan's aware of it, and the government of Alberta. The people are listening. At the same time, they're trying to find a balance that works for all of us to try and move forward from where we have been. And I appreciate working with the government of Saskatchewan, the information they've provided to date through the medical department and all the other information that's flowed out in the last week. I hope people appreciate that. That's new information for all of us, and we'll take it in stride and go from there.
The Alberta legislature was sitting this past week to legislation related to COVID-19. Jace Mackey spoke with MLA Garth Rose for an update.
It's great to be joined here with Garth Rose, MLA for Vermilion, Lloydminster, Wainwright, and I understand you're in Edmonton today, Mr. Rosewell.
Yeah, we're disrupted like most other people. It's we usually find out on Monday if we're sitting this week, and so we found out that we're sitting Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week, and we'll see what happens next week.
And I understand these past few weeks has been very busy for you, I assume, with everything going on with the COVID-19 pandemic, and then Alberta's plan to relaunch the province. Can you just talk a little bit about what kind of work the government caucus has been doing over the past few weeks?
Well, part of it is just, like making sure that our infection rate and ICU, like how many people are in hospital and ICUs, and to maintain a very high testing rate in order to see where our situation is. Because the goal is to not overwhelm the hospitals, and that's been working out quite well in Alberta. They're not overwhelmed. And then trying to decide what to open, and then in conjunction with other provinces to make sure that, especially Saskatchewan, that we're kind of on the same vein.
And then when it comes also just to talking about Saskatchewan, I just wanted to hear your perspective as an MLA with a city in your riding that's bi-provincial. Have you been hearing from people in this riding that have maybe been confused about having to deal with Alberta Health Services and also the Saskatchewan Health Authority during this whole pandemic?
Yeah, it's created a problem. It's the mayor's had a difficult, he's buried the biggest brunt of this because Lloydminster has its own charter and they make the call on the emergency services, but they have to decide which one to follow. And I know when it's been on the Saskatchewan side, and if it was more restrictive than the Alberta side, we heard from Alberta businesses that were saying, well, I'm an Alberta business. Why should we do this? And it's a legitimate question, but that's one of the ongoing problems that happens when you're in a bi-provincial city.
And I just wanted to talk a little bit too that in especially this area, but Alberta in general and Saskatchewan, this pandemic was also met at the same time with the low price of oil. Just what kind of stuff have you been trying to do to work with the government caucus to try and help Albertans during this difficult time?
Well, we've been lobbying the federal government to help out the oil industry, and one thing that should help us out quite nicely in this constituency is part of the package we got from the federal government included $1 billion for site reclamation, and also some money went into the Abandoned Well Association to deal with abandoned wells. But we have about 150 abandoned wells in this constituency, and we got over 5,000 inactive wells. So to reclaim those and shut some down is going to require a lot more people to be working. And we just launched that this past weekend where applications could be put in. And over the weekend, we had already had 14,000 applications across the province. So that will help. That will put people to work. Talk to many welders and service contractors, and they're on top of it. They're making the applications. They're getting lined up to do the work, and we're going to be putting that out in $100 million tranches. So the first $100 million is going out for May, and another $100 million in June, and we'll carry it out from there. But that should create quite a bit of work, across the province and for sure locally.
And another issue that's kind of come up a little bit on the back burners during this pandemic was kind of the government's relationship with certain rural physicians. And I know the health minister kind of changed some things last week, I believe. Can you just talk about, are you concerned about your constituents access to healthcare in this riding?
No, I don't think so. Like, there was concerns brought forward by rural physicians, and as we went through this, I met with physicians in each of the all three of the towns that are in my constituency, and had really good, productive, respectable conversations with them. And we were able to put that information to the minister, not just me, but all the rural MLAs. And there is a difference. Like urban MLAs, like there are some doctors that are strictly clinical, and then there's some doctors that are only ER doctors, and then there's some doctors that only work in the hospitals and do rounds. And in rural areas, they do all three. Mm-hmm. So it's a different animal, and we felt that it needed to be treated differently. And the latest moves that the minister has done has reflected that. And it's just rural doctors in Alberta are, the compensation package that they have now is like as good as it can get in Canada, if not better.
All right, thanks so much, Garth Rose, MLA for Vermilion, Lloydminster, Wainwright. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me today.
Oh yeah, thanks very much.
Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday, and there's some great local businesses here in Lloydminster that can help you find the perfect gift for your mom, including Olive and Birch. You can give them a call, and they will share some great gift ideas for your mom with you. They've got the Nest collections. They can help you put one of those together. They've got great brands, including Magnolia Homes, Hilberg and Burke, and you can also shop online as well, olive-birch.myshopify.com. Great gift ideas for mom. Curbside pickup, Olive and Birch in downtown Lloydminster. There's so many great ways that you can treat mom this Mother's Day thanks to some great local businesses like Art of Flowers in Lloydminster. They've got gorgeous flowers that you can get through curbside pickup, and right next door to them is Willow Creek Clothing and Collectible. If your mom loves rustic, farmhouse, and she's a little bit sassy as well, Willow Creek Clothing and Collectibles has some great gift ideas for her, and you can get in touch with them through their Facebook page and through their Instagram account. And you can get registered now for the annual Walk for Alzheimer's. It's going to be an online walk this year, a virtual walk, coming up on Sunday, May 31st. You can head online to walkforalzheimerssk.ca, get registered, then on Sunday, May 31st, have a lot of fun. Whether you walk, whether you run, whether you dance at home with your family, you can take part in a great event to help out a great cause. Well, however you choose to celebrate Mom this weekend on Mother's Day, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
I'm joined here with Michelle Sayers, and she's the founder of Beauty from Bees. How has it been for you adjusting during the pandemic?
Actually, we have been really consistently busy and have even grown a little bit in this time. We've had to hire a couple of new employees. So we have been so fortunate. We feel like everybody has just been so supportive and really spreading the word that we have good quality products, and we've just been reaching new territories and still continuing to grow. So we're so thankful.
Since you are located in Alberta, are you excited for the fact that you may be able to reopen soon?
Very excited. We have a little storefront. We are in a small town that's only about 600 people, but people do like to come in and refill their bottles to help, the zero waste movement. So we're so excited to get that going again.
Now Mother's Day is approaching quickly. What kind of products does Beauty from Bees really offer for that?
We did have this special little care collection that we put together specifically for Mother's Day, and we actually ended up selling out of it. But it was a really nice collection of some of our favorite products. And now we're just kind of promoting gift cards. We have other ways that you can still get Beauty from Bees to your mom, even if it's last minute.
And what are some examples of some of the products you would recommend for Mother's Day?
Our vitamin C skincare line seems to be really blowing everything out of the water these days. It's so mild, so nice. It's great for all ages. We have teenagers up to women in their 70s using it, loving it. So it's just so versatile, and it's just something really special, like a way to really pamper yourself and treat yourself, because moms deserve that.
Of course. Now, you also carry a lot of products that are good for kids.
Yes, we have lots of items that are really good for kids. We have a full baby line and the fun bubble baths that I feel like all kids love. And of course, with the quality natural ingredients, they're not going to harm your skin or leave you feeling really dry and itchy. You're going to feel just really relaxed and good after your bath.
Can people order online?
Yes, you bet. We are available. We ship orders every day online at www.beautyfrombees.ca. And if you are local in Lloydminster, Olive and Birch and Home Hardware both carry our products as well.
And how does shipping and pickup work?
So you can do a local pickup in Marlene at any time. And I know some of the stores in Lloydminster are also offering curbside pickup. And we do a standard $9 shipping rate on orders under $75, and then orders over $75 are always free.
And how has the community support been so far?
Amazing. I just cannot say thank you enough to all of our customers and everybody that is still buying our products, supporting us, telling us how much they love everything, and it means so much to us.
If anyone is looking for your full catalog, is that available at your website?
You bet. Everything is available online. There's details to every product, all the pricing, how to use it. It's all available on our website.
Well, thank you so much for doing this, Michelle.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's Friday, which means another entertainment panel. I'm joined with Abby St. John once again. Now, Abby, some big news that came out earlier into the week was the fact that Taika Waititi is now officially going to direct a Star Wars movie and co-write it. Of course, there were rumors after, the success of him on The Mandalorian. Of course, just the fact that many Star Wars fans were very, very excited. Now, as a director, of course, he's fairly well known. He directed Thor Ragnarok as well as Jojo Rabbit, where he won Best Adapted Screenplay. Just what are your initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not a big Star Wars fan to begin with, but I think it's a great option and it's a great path to go down because he has given us movies like Thor Ragnarok, which really was one of my favorite Avengers movies, in my opinion. I think it's one of the best ones. He recently just directed Jojo Rabbit, which got Oscar buzz. So I think he's a very, very good choice. He's a fresh choice for Star Wars to kind of come in and update it a little bit and give it a little bit more life. And I don't know, maybe give a little bit of a spin to it. He has directed, like you said, an episode of The Mandalorian. So he kind of has that feel for Star Wars, so I think it's a great way to go, and it's a good director to use if you want to shake things up a little bit.
Absolutely. And of course, one of the big things that is still going on, of course, with movies not being able to be released on time in theaters because of the pandemic. One movie, just for example, of course, Trolls World Tour was the first movie that kind of kicked this off with the whole keeping videos on demand. But one thing that really struck to me was that, actors that sign their contracts are supposed to get a percentage of box office revenue. It was said earlier as well this week that the actors were unaware that they were having that movie on demand, and of course they don't get that percentage of the box office that they're supposed to get. So going forward, do you think that actors will start to kind of renegotiate or at least try to adjust their contracts, even though if their movie's already finished or still going?
I don't know if they're going to look at trying to renegotiate their contracts leading up, because it's not a bunch of movies that are going on demand. It's more those low to mid-tier budget films and family-oriented films, like you said, Trolls and Scoob. That's going to be coming out on demand as well. It's definitely more family-tier movies because a lot more families are together as they are supposed to be inside. So they are going to gravitate towards those family movies. movies, and they're the low to mid-tier budget films, meaning that they didn't cost a ton of money to produce, and they weren't expected to be box office hits. Like Black Widow, Fast and Furious 9, those both have been pushed for 2021, as a lot of movies have been, just because they are expected to be those big box office and to bring in millions of dollars. Like with Black Widow, you see that the Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, they brought in billions of dollars. And another big thing is the Academy Awards. A lot of these films want to be considered for nomination, so you have to go into theaters for a certain period of time to be considered for an Academy Award. So that is also a big reason why films are being pushed to 2021 instead of going to on demand. It's mostly just those low to mid-tier budget films that won't make as much.
And lastly, Abby, just before we wrap things up here, I know it was announced earlier this week too that Hercules was getting live action treatment as well from the Russo brothers producing. What are your initial thoughts on that, and who do you think, maybe just really quickly, who could be in that dream casting there for you?
I don't have a full dream cast. I think it's very important who they cast. I think especially with the muses, the ladies who sing, I think that's very important to pick the right women to do those iconic characters. Hades, of course, is a very iconic character, very funny, very, he's a funny villain, so you have to have a funny villain play him. So that's going to be very important to cast. I don't have any real wants for actors. I think Jason Momoa, of course, would be an awesome Hercules, obviously. But other than that, I think it's very important who they choose for those certain characters like the Muses and Hades as well.
Well, Abby, I really appreciate your time, as always, joining us on our entertainment panel. We'll see you again really soon. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Gar.
I'm very pleased to be joined with Gary Anaka. He is a brain-based learning facilitator, and he's going to have his webinar session starting next week here in Lloydminster. So, Gary, thanks a lot for joining me.
Thank you, and good morning.
Let's talk about the sessions themselves. What are you targeting this time? What is your main focus for these sessions?
Well, they're called Brain Wellness, the Secrets for Longevity, and they're supporting seniors in your community. And with a continuing education, you can gain knowledge, and with knowledge you can gain wisdom, and you can be a lot wiser and smarter in your life as you get older. And you can take advantage of all this fantastic research is coming out now about how to regrow your brain. So that's what I'm focusing on in the 5 workshops. They're all very short. The goal is I shall be the teacher, and all of the seniors who tune in, and other adults, of course, too, they'll be my students. And so I'm asking everyone to come to these 5-day little workshops with a pen, paper, and their brain.
And of course, we know you've done some of these seminars with us in the past. Now, of course, you're focusing on senior health, like you mentioned. Why pick this topic, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, I've been invited again, which is terrific because I've been a couple of times to Lloydminster before, and it was completely sold out both times. It's a time when we really need to re-educate ourselves. We really need to get in touch with how do we work as a human being? What's our constitution? And at the basis of that, of course, is the brain. And to be quite honest, most of our society doesn't know very much about the brain at all. So I have been immersed in this new applied neuroscience for many, many years. And I just offer public workshops to people to enhance their life, to make them healthier, and as far as the seniors go, to avoid cognitive decline.
Now, of course, we all know the brain kind of stops developing, or it's done developing at a certain age. What are some common, other misconceptions, with brain development and just overall mental health? Okay,
so we used to believe that you were born with a hardwired black box, and it's the same old box right to the end of your life. It's not true at all. We also used to believe that you couldn't grow new brain cells and that the brain never changed. And we now know that these are completely false. The brain is plastic, it's elastic. The brain you have today, Connor, is a different brain you had yesterday. And wouldn't you want to make it better every day? So I'm focusing on a simple brain geography, what's going on in the brain. We're looking at two major parts, one that makes memory and one that thinks. Those two parts of the brain we focus on in this series. And what we're doing is basing it on 24 lifestyle choices. For example, if you need a snack, you can choose between a donut or carrot sticks. If you need a drink, you can choose between some water or another beer. You need to make conscious choices. So through this workshop, you will learn exactly how the brain stays healthy and well. And a lot of it, or the majority of it, is free. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a matter of attitude. Am I going to improve my brain or not?
What has been some of the response that you've been getting from people that have taken your courses and seen kind of those used your tactics and strategies to help improve their life? Have you heard anything from people that you've maybe coached in the past?
Yes, I have. I've done well over 1,000 public workshops now, and the feedback is generally very, very positive. People are grateful to know about some really simple things about what is a neuron, how do they work, what is it I actually need to grow inside my brain, can I get along without a whole bunch of medications, can I have a lifestyle that will support my brain. And these are the kinds of things that people really want to hear, and we hear that back in our feedback sheets.
And lastly, I know you mentioned their free sessions starting on Monday, May 11th, and going on throughout the rest of the week. So how can people join in if they want to learn more?
I think you'd have to contact FCSS, the Family Services organization in Lloydminster, and they will have a link there where you can join up at 10 o'clock on Monday morning. It'll be 10 o'clock every single day of the week, and you can participate in the workshops.
Well, Gary, I really appreciate your time sharing all this wonderful information with us. I know you've obviously been here before, so a lot of people know who you are, and I'm sure they're excited to learn more about what you have to say about the brain. So thank you.
Thank you, Connor, and enjoy your brain.
Today I'm joined here with our sports guy, Evan Kenny. Now, Evan, things have been happening in the NHL. Some text messages were leaked that didn't shed some bright light on some certain players. Break down that situation for us and tell me what happened.
Washington Capitals forward Brendan Leipsic. He was in an Instagram private message with a couple of other hockey players as well. And they were sending degrading messages about different players throughout the NHL, specifically Jake Virtanen, and as well as Leipzig's teammates Nick Dowd and Garnett Hathaway. And then they also sent degrading messages referring to different opponents' wives or girlfriends, most prominently Tanner Pearson's wife and Connor McDavid's girlfriend.
Now, we know Leipsic was involved. Obviously, he is the center around all of this, but who else was involved in these messages or who may have been affected? You did mention a couple other players and their girlfriends and wives being targeted as well.
Yeah, the players who were actually in this group chat were Brendan Leipsic formerly of the Washington Capitals, rather, as the Capitals have dropped him. As well as his brother, Jeremy Leipsic, who was playing for the University of Manitoba hockey team there. And he was also dropped by their team. And then finally, Jake Rodwald. He was with the Florida Panthers organization.
Now, with the NHL's anti-bullying stance, do you think that there will be more punishment to these players, especially Leipsic, who is in the NHL itself?
Yeah, it's tough to say. The NHL is really stepping up in the bullying department, and the NHL is really taking a stand behind hockey is for everyone. And I believe hockey is for everyone. And when these players are, sending these kind of messages, whether it's in private or, out in the open, it's still not good for the game. The NHL also said the National Hockey League strongly condemns the misogynistic and reprehensible remarks made. And that there is no place in our league for such statements, attitudes, and behavior, no matter the forum. So the NHL is planning on cracking down. It's more a matter of when, as they still have to have meetings with the players and whatnot.
Now, has some of the players that were called out, like you said, McDavid's girlfriend and other players that he played with, have they responded to all these messages being leaked? And if so, what were kind of the messages that were said?
There's been a little bit of chitter chatter over Twitter, over Instagram, over whatever platform you want to say. But nobody has really been that first person to step up and take a stand against Leipzig, at least in the public eye. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. Maybe a different text message chains going on. Maybe giving him some smack. But we don't know. There hasn't been anybody to really take that big step forward, almost like Akeem Aliyu. If we're looking back at the coaching situation with that bullying situation, nobody's done the same thing to make this, or at least from a player's perspective.
Now, has Leipzig responded? And if he hasn't, do you think that he will come out and openly apologize to those players? As we've seen, this happens quite often. Athlete or a celebrity itself makes a mistake and they get caught. They're not really a mistake. They do something that obviously is not a good thing, like saying all of these horrible things about colleagues. Do you think he will publicly apologize for it? And how has he been responding so far through all this situation?
Well, he has kind of apologized already. He made a post on Instagram, which was a screenshot of his notes. And to paraphrase a little bit, he said, "Yesterday, my friend's Instagram account was hacked, and an individual circulated images that are representative of private conversations I was a part of. I fully recognize how inappropriate and offensive these comments are and sincerely apologize to everyone for my actions." Now, a lot of people have said, well, is this just because there's the backlash and because it got leaked, does he really mean it? So a lot of people are thinking it's a fake apology. There's been different articles written about, Brendan Leipzig, best way to write a fake apology, and he showed it. So, I don't know if it's real or not without knowing, the Brendan Leipzig and whatnot, but he has made that on Instagram, and I'm assuming he'll come forward with a public message as well.
All right, Evan. Well, thank you so much for shedding some light on the situation. It was a very crazy situation that obviously he wasn't expecting, but it does make you realize how careful you do have to be online, especially when you are in the limelight like a NHL hockey player. So thank you so much.
Thanks.